Okay, so this is how we're going to start. How many of you ever had a challenge in your life? Great. Okay. How many of you think that there's a person on earth who never had a challenge? Always our crazy friend here. Okay. Right? But basically everybody goes through challenges. Now, what we know that the Creator gave us something called free will. So free will means that there have to be at least two choices. So when a challenge occurs in our life or somebody else's life, we have two choices. In essence, two choices. We can either decide to blame whatever, whoever, or something outside of us. Why did they do it to me? Why is it happening to me? It's all their fault. They made me. I couldn't help myself, etc. The moment you decide, or a person decides to blame anything outside themselves for what just went on in their life, one, they've lost control of their destiny, and two, we'll call them a victim. Do we not? They're the victim of the other person. They're the victim of circumstances. And therefore, they've lost their free will. It's kind of the paradox. They use their free will to give up their free will, because they have the free will to blame or not. So there's a victim. Now, there are people who challenges also happen to, but they decide not to be the victim. They decide to take control over their destiny. They decide they're going to rise above what the other person did, said, or whatever the circumstances are. And those people we call victors. They are victors over the circumstances. They don't give into. So it's not then about the circumstances, because everybody has challenges. Yes, what that voice in our head is going to say, but they don't have a challenge like mine. But what if they did? Tell me there's nobody who's risen above their challenges whose challenge was worse than yours. So then we cannot look at the challenge itself. The key to victim or the key to victor is how we respond to the challenge. It's not about the circumstances, because we can't always control what happens to us, but we can always control what we do in response. That's what free will means. We can always control what we do. And the whole point of this morning is to make each and every one of us a victor over our circumstances, whether they're past or they're present, or they may be yet future. So it then goes back, as we said, consciousness is everything. So we want to start awakening the idea of consciousness, of victim and victor, so that we at least, if nothing else, will make a more informed decision. So even if a person decides they want to be a victim, they want to blame, at least they'll be more informed. They'll understand why they're doing it, what they're doing it for, and what the results are going to be. I can't take away your free will. God can't take away our free will. So everybody on earth has that free will. If they want to choose to be a victim, but at least know what it's going to cost you. Like I heard once a speaker say when I was living in LA, well, I guess you could say it here too. You know what? I can park anywhere I want, anytime in Boca. Yes or no? Yes. What about the red zones? What about in front of a fire station? No. Can I park there?
Oh, yes, you can.
Of course I can park there. All I have to do is pull my car right there. The issue is not, can I park there? The issue is, am I willing to risk and or pay whatever the fine is for doing it? So I have the free will to do it. But if I know what the results are going to be, then I'll probably make a decision not to. Or if for whatever reason I decide I'm willing to pay the price, then I can park anywhere I want. So it's the same thing. We can respond any way we want, whether we blame or we rise above the challenge, as long as we'll understand what the price is for that. And once we do that, because I can hear it already in your head. Yes, I do read minds. So be careful. Once we understand more what the victim situation will do to us, the more we're going to choose to be the victor. And that's really the key. That's really the key. So there's an interesting Kabbalistic idea, and just to sort of cut to the chase, because we could go on for another hour just to explain it. The essence of victim or victor is a simple concept. As most things in Kabbalah, when it boils down, it's very simple. A victim is somebody who took an action or is in a situation that feels what they're getting from the situation is less than they expected, wanted, or thought they deserved. Think about it. You go to work, you put in your time and your effort, you do extra work. You work a little overtime, you do more, so you'll show to your boss how loyal you are, what a great employee you are, etc. And you're expecting your review that's coming up in a couple months to be shining and glowing, and you're going to get that promotion. You work hard for those few months, you get your review, and then you find out you didn't get the promotion, you didn't get the raise. Who do you blame? Of course you're going to blame the boss. They didn't see what I did. They didn't see how hard I worked. They didn't see how great I am. So the person did. They worked hard. They made an effort, but they didn't get back what they expected, is the way that victimization starts. I'm a victim of them because look what I did. Now you have, on the other hand, you have a person who's a victor over circumstances when no matter what they do and no matter what comes their way, they can find, that's what it's called Kabbalistically, they can find that they got more blessings in return than they thought they were going to get. When you find more than you expected, are you happy or sad? You're happy. So then who does the finding depend on? Depends on me. It's not about did I do the hard work and made the effort, so I thought I earned that extra the promotion or the raise or the whatever, the extra care from the other person or the extra adulation from somebody. No, when the Kabbalists talk about hard work and finding, they're talking about, one, the spiritual work of transformation. They're not talking about just physical effort. They're talking about transformation. So if a person is going out to get a better job and they're working hard, like we use that example, they're making the effort to work hard and do, etc., etc. So the boss will see them, so they'll get the raise. Then what are they working for? Are they transforming themselves? Did they change any part of their nature from egocentric to outer-centric, to other-centric? No, it's still about them. So the law of the universe is like attracts like. Until we act more and more like the Creator, which is a constant sharing energy, a constant sharing action, then the same old is going to happen. So we can do a lot of things physically and not transform anything spiritually. So the Kabbalists teach if we don't do that hard work of transformation, whatever you've done in the physical world, you will then not find the added blessing. You will find that you're getting less than you expected or less than you think you're entitled to. And therefore, right away, you're in victim consciousness and out of control. Because then your destiny is up to everybody else or something outside of you. And the Creator gave us the power to be in control of our destiny, not anybody outside of us. So let's start thinking about where and how have we been victimized. And it doesn't necessarily mean in a physical way. When I was growing up, my father, may he rest in peace, he was a Leo. I don't know how many of you are Leos, know Leos, been around Leos, but he was a particular type of Leo that loved to be the center of attention. And he had the talent and ability to be the center of attention. And me, growing up, being the little Libra, I wanted to be just, on the side, just do my thing, go to school, whatever it was, be with my friends. And so I felt growing up that I was the victim of my father. Not that he had any intent to victimize me, but just the fact that he could generate such attention, and I thought as a kid that it was embarrassing to me. Look what he's doing to me. He's embarrassing me, not even in front of my friends necessarily, just in life. Look at what he's doing. And they're going to say, well, Chaim, you're his son. And that's what I'm thinking, right? They're going to associate his behavior with me. And so I felt victimized. Until I realized what I'm going to explain to you now. How do you overcome being a victim? How do you become a victor? So it's the essence of what we're here this morning to talk about. Seize the day. Seize the opportunity. Take control. Take control. If you decide, like we've said, to let, in my case, my father be my no, there's another word. Yeah, exactly. If I decided that I was a victim of my father, then I was. Because I created it. Not because he created it. He loved me tremendously. But he didn't realize, in my mind, I felt victimized. So then I had to decide, seize the day, take control. And number one, I just shifted my consciousness and realized, you know what? He is who he is. And he's going to do what he's going to do. And if anybody decided they were going to associate in any way that I thought was negative, me and him, then you know what? Then they didn't know me well. And then why do I need to be concerned about that? Just live my life, do what I needed to do, and now look at me. I'm the center of attention. Okay. See? Okay. But that's the whole concept. Seize the day, take control. Rav Ashlag, the founder of the Kabbalah Center almost 100 years ago, in one of his writings he says like this. He says, every day, we all have 24 hours, but there are some people who live the same day over and over and over and over and over again, so they live one day for 70 years. And then he says there are other people who also have those 24 hours, but they live as if they're putting 70 years in each and every day of their life. So again, who does that go back to? It goes back to us. It's our decision. It's not some circumstance on the outside. Because as much as we can plot and plan in our life what we're going to do, how we're going to achieve, etc. I mean, any of you ever had anything unexpected for good happen to you? Ever? So then, how could we have plotted and planned even for good? I mean, we're all plotting and planning our life for good. We do what we do so we'll have some benefit. We go out with people so we'll have some benefit. We enjoy our hobbies or our vacations because we'll have some benefit. So imagine then, how can we have unexpected good? Forget even the other side. We can't plot and plan everything. Things will take place because we don't understand everything we've done, how everything affects other people. We don't know what's going to happen. But as we've talked about, we can decide what we're going to do with it. That we can have control over. That's the idea of seizing the opportunity. So then when the Kabbalists talk about hard work and finding, if you find $100 on the street, you're walking down the street and you find a $100 bill, would you hold it up and say, look what I've earned? You'd say, look what I found. You already got extra, you weren't expecting it. So then when we wake up in the morning, the Kabbalists teach us to already realize we found more good and more blessing than we could ever earn with our work. Because think about what it takes. When a person goes to sleep, the Kabbalists explain the soul goes out. That's where you get your dreams, you get those visions, you get whatever at night. Basically, your soul is getting charged. If you look at a person who's sleeping, according to the Kabbalists, it's 1/60th of death. Because the soul is extended, a person is kind of still in their bed, right? Sometimes you even have to look at them and check to make sure they're breathing, because you almost can't see it sometimes. And then we wake up and we become animated again. Some of us. But you wake up. So the Kabbalists say the first thing we should think about is, thank you, Creator, for giving me my soul back. I can't do that. How many people do you think go to sleep at night and already decided their soul's not coming back in the morning? Probably nobody. Everybody goes to bed at night and expects to wake up in the morning. But not everybody does. Hundreds of thousands of people, I'm sure, a day don't. So then when you and I wake up in the morning, should be our first consciousness already. Thank you, I found more than I could work for. I've found more than the effort I've made. Because my entire soul, full of the energy of the Creator, came back inside my body. And I now have a day that I can go out and seize every opportunity to be the victor over no matter what circumstances come my way. As difficult as it may be, I mean, all you have to do is read stories. You read stories of people who've overcome tremendous difficulties, or even in simple ways. And of course, as the universe is synchronistic, so I happen to be looking at Reader's Digest, one of my favorite readings, and I found two things perfect for today. Seizing the opportunity, seeing what other people don't. Because if you think about it, most of you already been learning at least the basics of Kabbalah in the classes. The physical world, Kabbalistically, is called the 1%. The spiritual world, where the infinite light of the Creator exists, is the 99%. So if we even think about it, just simple mathematics, if we were to do 100% of the physical effort of transforming ourselves spiritually, we can only do 100% of the 1%. Overcoming my fears, my anger, greed, jealousy, ego, hurt, resentment, whatever it may be. 100% of the 1%. What do we all get in return for that? 99%. So it's like putting in $1 and taking out $99. It's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. So that's the finding. No matter what it is, we should be able to find the light of the Creator and the blessings in all the challenges. So I found a couple examples of people who just didn't give up, and they went out and seized the opportunity. Okay, I'll just read it as it is. Who doesn't like chocolate? Okay, just checking. That's what Nick Begley thought. So he designed his resume to look like a chocolate bar wrapper and folded it around a Nestle Crunch bar. He called it Resume Bar. With the tagline, credentials that will satisfy any organization's appetite. He got the job. After being turned down for 250 jobs, social media specialist Adam Passini threw himself at the mercy of prospective employers. The Brit rented a billboard that screamed, "I spent my last 500 pounds on this billboard. Please give me a job." 60 companies went to his website and offered him jobs. Now, how many of us would have sat and thought, 250 resumes, I've sent them out there, nobody's answering, it's got to be the economy, I don't understand it, I've got a great background, etc., etc. We would have felt a victim of those 250 companies. And in this case, the two of them decided to seize the opportunity, seize the day, seize control. And they did the unusual and got noticed and got results. Now, I'm not saying I could just see we're all going to start wrapping Nestle bars with our resume, but you get the idea. The idea is to do something to seize control over and take control over our circumstances. Because why? What's it based on? We have all been given the power of infinite possibilities by the Creator. I mean, if we thought about it, why do people pray? Why do people pray to God traditionally? Because they figure God is all-powerful and all-knowing. So if I pray to God to get me anything in the world, God should be able to supply it. No? Right? That's what they think. So if you and I here are understanding that we are filled with the light of God, and therefore we have all the powers of God in our level, then there should be also nothing that if we unite ourselves with the light of the Creator inside of us, and we're operating in the system of the light, there's nothing in the universe that the light and I cannot make happen. Nothing. The key is not expecting it overnight. It may happen overnight, it may take 25 years. But if we work and we continue to work the system and work with the light, we can fix anything we ever done that's holding us back. We can take control over anything that's happening. It simply takes that unity. In fact, there's a lot now in the last probably 15, 20 years, mind, body, and soul, or spirit, right? Once it's united. So there's a very interesting story in the Bible. Two sorcerers, and I'm not asking you to believe or not, but it's a nice lesson. Two sorcerers wanted to destroy the spiritual people of the world. People who believe like you and I, mind over matter, consciousness is everything, and they had the power to curse, they had the power of evil eye, jealousy, they had the power of witchcraft, etc. So these two people wanted to destroy the good people, the spiritual people of the world. But as the Bible relates, they couldn't. Why couldn't they? Because even though these millions of people they wanted to destroy had some negativity in them, like you and I, we may all be on our spiritual path wanting to grow, be better people, doing more for the world, to help others, etc. But we also have still some of our negativity. We may have a little fear, a little anger, a little greed, a little resentment, whatever it may be. But the Kabbalists teach when we unite in a group, like even here on Spiritual Sunday, when we're united as a group like this, then the universe doesn't see our negativity. It sees the unity of the light that we've generated through our actions and our good behavior. And therefore the Bible relates that even though these two people, they knew how to commit witchcraft and curses, etc., but because the people were united, or even we would say as a body, mind, and soul united, then all the curses turned to blessings. All the darkness turned to light. So then imagine how much good we still have waiting for us. If you think of whatever you consider negative in your life, that you've done, experienced, etc., and understand that as you turn that and you transform yourself, it will turn into light and blessings. So think how many more blessings are waiting for you. But we have to be willing to do the work. We have to be willing to walk into the darkness, and as the Kabbalists teach, draw the light out of the darkness. But most people want to avoid the darkness. But if like attracts like, and we still have some of our light covered, then wherever we go, what do we take with us? We take that darkness, and like will attract like. And that's why we find ourselves being challenged again and again and again and again. And that's why we're here this morning to learn, no, seize the opportunity. Take control over your life and don't let the circumstances victimize you. The center, the fact we're sitting in this building is because there were two people almost 50 years ago who decided they were not going to be victimized by anyone or anything. The Rav Berg and Karen Berg. They started as two people, the people who, my teachers, they started 50 years ago, two people, $300 between them. They lived in New York, they had two kids, and they picked up and moved to Israel. Two kids, two people, $300. And at that time, especially, the fact that the Rav was going to teach Kabbalah to the masses, teach it in public, right, was against the tradition as it was known then. But they didn't care. They weren't going to allow themselves to be victimized. They were beat up, they were ostracized. I mean, I can tell you horror stories of what happened to them. But the fact that the two of them were together and united, we now have centers all over the world. You and I are sitting here. We have the ability to transform ourselves by learning any facet of Kabbalah. We have, as we're going to do later, we're going to meditate on the 72 names. That technology was hidden for thousands of years. We have the books of the Zohar, not only in its original Aramaic, but also now translated into English because of the center. So every human being on earth can have access to this wisdom. And it's only because they decided, like we're learning today, not to be victims of anybody or any circumstance, but they were going to be victors. Because as we just said, me and the light can do anything. You and the light can do anything. You just have to decide, you have to be committed, and you have to persevere. That's it. The system is simple. We affirm it every Sunday morning. Love, kindness, and compassion. And as we said, see the miracles. Don't expect the miracles to show in the way you see them or expect them. Look for how they happen. Look for how they happen. In fact, in the Zohar this last week, I read, it says very simply, the Creator does miracles for us that we don't take notice of. I mean, think about it. If you're driving down, how many of you drove from home here? Right? Whether you drove or you were in the car with somebody who drove. Right? Yes or no? You drove? Anybody had an accident? So how do you know that wasn't a miracle? How do you know you weren't supposed to be in an accident, and whatever good thing you did in this last week or 2 or 3 transformed you enough that the accident didn't have to take place? How would you know? You wouldn't see it because you just drove from home here like you do every Sunday. Nothing happened. You just assume and expect nothing to happen. But that's part of the seizing the opportunity. Open your eyes and realize, you know what? The fact I got from home here, that's already a miracle. It's already a miracle. The fact you'll get from here home, that's also a miracle. The fact that we're living and breathing, it's already a miracle. That's what we're here to learn. That, once you have that consciousness, then nothing can bowl you over. I mean, think about it. If you already know that you're getting 99 times whatever action you do, then even when the challenges show up, how are you going to look at that person? So somebody comes to you this week and says, you know what, whatever, I don't like you. I don't like the way you act. That was a horrible thing you did to me. I can't believe who you are and what you do, etc., etc. As we will hold the consciousness of being the victor over the circumstances, and we can see the 99% through the 1%, then the more that they're heaping the criticism, the darkness, we're learning here how to turn darkness to light. So go ahead, give me more even, because I'm going to turn all your garbage into my light and blessings. So they'll get the garbage, I'll get the light. I'll get the blessings. It's fine with me. So they want to keep going, keep going. I can learn, and we learn here, how to turn all of our darkness, all of our negativity into blessings. That's the power we have. The only thing that can stop us is one thing. Only our own thinking. It's the only thing. So we're here today. Seize the opportunity. Decide right now, I want to be the victor over all circumstances. In fact, if I can ask you, just say that. I am the victor over all circumstances. But now say it like you mean it. I am the victor over all circumstances, because me and the light can do anything. That's it. So as we all decide now and commit ourselves now to be the victor and to transform ourselves and just do the spiritual work of acting with unconditional love towards everybody, then heaven on earth will not be a concept, but you and I in unity, which is the whole power of the Kabbalah Center. We are deciding now that we, as the co-creator, are creating, starting right now when the world needs it the most. We are creating heaven on earth, beginning now with you and me. God bless.